Hello, so today we will analyze a game by Akiba Rubinstein. He's playing with the black pieces against Rodlery George. Um, this game is a very nice one. It's one of his Immortal games, so let's get right into it. We get the move d4, and here we get d5, the queen's pawn opening. Opponent plays knight to f3, which could transpose into a London or something else. Get e3 here, and here we get e6 here, and now we get e3 and not developing the bishop out, but maybe with an idea to play c5 in the future. We won't go too much into the opening, and here we get c5. Opponent plays c4, and here we get knight to c6 here, developing knight. Opponent plays knight to c3 and knight to f6, and so far we have a symmetrical position. Pretty nice. Opponent plays d takes c5, and after bishop takes c5, one cool thing to note here, both sides are ready to play with hanging pawns, I'm pretty sure. Like, oh wait, no, not yet. Like, let's say b3, b6. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, hanging pawns. Something like this. Both sides are ready to play with this in the future here. Which is very interesting, which gives white a lot of attacking options, open files here, and then some attack on the king in the future, but not in this case. Instead, we get the immediate d takes c5 here. If a3, bishop to e7 here, and like takes, here we have an interesting position where white can indeed play b5 here, and we don't really want to go into this because we just wasted a tempo. Basically, they just got like two free moves, pretty much. So you don't want to play bishop to e7. You could probably after a3 just play a6, and then after like d takes, bishop takes is way better. And then like if bishop to e2. If they play bishop to e2, then we have the same thing. And here we get d takes c5, bishop takes c5, and a3. a3 preparing some b5 pushes in the future here, expand on the queen side. We get the move a6, and so far the position is symmetrical except one thing here. Black hasn't decided to capture here yet. We get b4, bishop to d6, and bishop to b2, developing the bishop to this nice and long diagonal. White also has a lot of play on the queen side here with these three pawns. We get castles, and an interesting move, queen to d2. This is an inaccuracy because of d takes c4. D takes c4 is a very strong move here. After bishop takes, then there is the move queen to e7 here, and the queen is on the d file here, and there's going to be a lot of problems here. The rook's coming into d8, attacking the queen, and this is not looking very good here because the queen's on d2. Instead, we get queen to e7 first, which still has the same idea, and after this move, we get the move bishop to d3. After bishop to d3, we get d takes, bishop takes, and b5. b5 pushing the pawn here to attack the bishop. Bishop to d3, and now rook d8, putting the rook on the d file here, and certainly, we have a very symmetrical position here. But the bishop hasn't gone here, with one key difference, queen on d2 and a rook on the d file, meaning that this bishop will be in a pin in the future. It probably is pinned now, because if you move it, like, let's say right now, we can just take a pawn. Like, if you move it, we just take this, and bro's getting cooked. We get queen to e2, and now, after bishop to b7, we have exactly the same position, except black is the one who's up a tempo, even though white is supposed to be up a tempo here. Because, first of all, black's already castled. Second, their rook's already active here. So, black is actually up 2 tempi here against the white pieces. Opponent goes castles, And here we get knight to e5. A nice move here, knight to e5, centralizing the knight and exchanging the key defender here, this knight on f3. You want to remove this defender so that you can open everything up for your pieces here. So knight to d5, we get takes and bishop takes e5. And this attack is looking very nice here for the black pieces here. Like already, there's some double bishop sacrifices lurking in the air, like bishop takes and bishop takes. And then if this knight wasn't here, maybe there would have been some sort of check, and then like the rook comes in. You know, that kind of tactical pattern. But also just not taking is probably a better option here, and just keeping the pressure here. So after this, opponent plays f4. After f4, bishop to c7 is played. But if you play something like rook fd1 here, and after queen to c7, this position is very strong for the black pieces here, because we hit the pawn and we hit that pawn, which is hitting the bishop. Not really, but we hit the knight and that pawn over there, and you can't really do that. And if rook ac1, then there is a nice move here you can pause to solve the problem. So if you pause, it's bishop takes h2. Brilliant move here. And if you take, this is like a Greek gift, except you don't go knight g4 because then they just take. Instead, you play the move queen to d6 here, checking the king and hitting the bishop with the rook as well, meaning that all you did was actually just win a pawn here. And even though this is opposite side color bishop endgame, there's still rooks on the board. And black has chances to make a passed pawn here. And this position is overall really good. That's why opponent plays f4 to kick out the bishop to remove some tactics over on the h-pawn. So the bishop drops back to c7 here. Bishop drops back to c7, and the idea is opponent just played f4, so why don't I just exploit that and go to b6 and hit this weakness over here. Opponent plays e4, blocking off the bishop, but weakening this diagonal significantly. Rubinstein chooses to go rook ac8 first, just bringing the pieces in, and it's not looking good for white here because of the pressure here with the two bishops. And on top of that, the rook is forced to defend this pawn because if it ever moves, then we just take. So black is just significantly better here. And here we get a mistake. e5 here. Now, why is e5 a mistake? Well, from my point of view, I think it's a mistake because first of all, it just opens up the bishop again. And you might argue that it blocks off the bishop, but the bishop was never doing anything in this diagonal in the first place. It's just going to go to b6, which is exactly what happens in the game. And yes, there is a tempo, but the knight can simply move somewhere. Knight to bishop to b6, I mean, check, and the king goes to h1. And I'm going to ask you to pause the video and find such a nice move by Rubinstein here. This move is very nice, brilliant. This move is a brilliancy, very nice, and you can pause the video now. So if you pause the video, the move is knight to g4, sacrificing the knight here. Why? Well, as you've noticed, the two rooks here are open, meaning that if you take this, then we just take this, and this position is lost for white. Sorry, because first of all, we have two crushing bishops here, two active rooks here. Already we're threatening to take, and from a black is strategically winning because they can go into an endgame anytime they want, like exchange the queens and go into an endgame with the bishop pair. This pawn is a permanent weakness. The bishop's doing very well. And of course, there's always that threat of rook takes c3, takes, and just completely crushing white here. So, by the way, after queen takes, if rook ac1, there's a move rook d2 here, just winning everything. And if bishop takes h7 here, which is a mistake, Then after takes, queen takes g4, rook d2 again. So, black is just winning, pretty much. Even though white is up a pawn, black is strategically winning this game. So, after king to h1, knight to g4, a brilliancy, we get to move bishop to e4. I mean, it's only natural that because his bishop is so strong, why not challenge it off? Also gets off the pressure off the rook from the d file and is defended by the knight. But once again, you can pause the video to solve the problem. So once you pause the video, it is the brilliant move queen to h4. Now this isn't really brilliant because if you take, then obviously there's a mate, but it's still a very nice move. Queen to h4, we attack the pawn with tempo. So we're bringing all the pieces into the attack here. One of the most important attacking fundamentals is, after all, to bring the pieces in. And every piece is working well here. Even though these two rooks are not in the attack, they will soon join the attack and they will be very powerful, as you'll see later in the game. We get the move g3 here. And now, you can pause the video and find the beautiful move that Rubinstein played. The move he played is rook takes c3, sacrificing a rook, sacrificing a queen, and sacrificing a bishop in one move. Sacrificing basically every piece in one move. Obviously, if you take this, then there's just bishop takes. Bishop takes here and you're losing because you can't take because I go here and I mate you. And if you go here, I still take. If you go here, there's just mate. So yeah, you can't take the rook. The most obvious one is to take the queen. What? And if you go bishop takes, this position is just completely losing. Probably rook takes, and you're fine here with the black pieces because you're just checkmating. But what if you accept the queen's sacrifice? What happens then? Well, you can pause the video to solve. Otherwise, if you already solved everything from this position, then you're in good shape. Sacrificing the rook again. Rook d2, sacrificing two rooks and a queen in just a span of 2 moves. So, if you take, there's probably just takes and you're completely cooking here because you can never take this because there's mate. And after that, if you accept the sacrifice, which was played in the game, then there's just bishop takes e4 here. And you're getting cooked. Bishop takes e4 here, and the two bishops, even though white is up a full queen, black, just all pieces are working together here. And there's just a mate next move. And after queen to g2, there's another brilliancy here to be played. Now this one is very hard to find. See if you can find it. So, the move is rook h3. Whoa. Brilliancy. And you can't take the rook because of the pin. But what if you take? Well, I just take. And you're getting cooked. And there's not much you can do to stop this. Like, all you can do is really just give away every piece. Like this. So basically, rook h3 and white resigns. So that is definitely a nice game here. Probably the key moment of the game here was knight to e5 here, exchanging this annoying defender, opening up the bishops as well, and taking out that key defender, and then the rest was just bringing the pieces in. And one of the key rules in attacking generally is to bring a lot of pieces, all of your pieces, if possible, into the attack. Just like what Rubinstein did here, he brought all the pieces, played knight to g4. These two rooks working so well together here, and you can't take, because then I just take, and you're positionally losing. And then like bishop to e4, I mean, yeah, it's it is a nice move, just trying to exchange the key bishop as a defender, but then it gets countered by queen to h4 here. And by the way, if you play h3 here, I'm pretty sure there's something here. Let me just double check. Oh yeah, there's just rook takes c3. Forgot about that. Rook takes c3, bishop takes c3, and then just bishop takes c4. Yep, and you're getting cooked. There's just this move, but even queen to g3 here. And you're getting cooked. Why? Because if you take, then there's just queen to h4. So yeah. Another key moment here is the move rook takes c3. What a brilliant tactic here. I also have this in my study in Lichess. I made a study in Lichess, just containing puzzles from positions or stuff I found online. It's called Brilliant Tactics. But anyway, g takes h4 and then just rook d2, sacrificing 2 rooks and a queen in 2 moves. Queen takes d2, bishop takes, and then the move that just ends it all, rook h3. And by the way, if you were wondering why I didn't upload for like 2 weeks or something, we had to move. So, that's the end of the video, and bye.